Hello, welcome to the session. Today we are going to talk about the art of breach detection. Before I start my session, I would like to start thanking Tech Target and Bright Talk for organizing this wonderful event. And let's start. My name is Dr. Erdal. Currently, I'm working as Chief Information Security Officer and Cybersecurity Strategist at Comodo Cybersecurity. Besides that, I'm the President of Global CISO Forum, which is a community activity area. So if you are a CISO or a CIO or you have the intention to be CISO, come and join us. I am a board member in a couple of organizations. I have lots of certification, and I'm also a researcher at Australian Charles Sturt University. So let's start with the session. Before we go into the juicy part, today we will talk about what data breaches are, how data breaches occur, how can we actually prevent those breaches, and at the end I'm going to have a small demo, but I will also have non-product. So regardless which product you use, I'm going to give you some recommendations which hopefully going to make your life easier if you face this unwanted event. Okay, those are my social media details. If you're Twitter, LinkedIn, or whatever, just keep in touch. And I think we're going to have some great collaboration together. Everybody who tweets today about this session, don't forget, all what you have to do is tweet about the session, tag me, tag Tech Target, and if you want Bright Talk as well, the top 5 tweets gonna win an ebook choice of. So the winner is gonna be able to choose one of my ebooks as present for them, and hopefully we will keep in touch via those social media platforms, as I said before. All right, let's start. We all know that organizations with enormous security budgets and allied security analysts are still struggling to address the modern threats. Doesn't matter which company it is, some sort faced a data breach, a cybersecurity incident. Look at the news. There is no single day that you don't read about a cyber attack. This could be a government attacking another government, which we call nation state. This could be a ransomware group, an ATP group, who's after your money, or a competitor who's after your data, or a script kiddie who's after your personal data or your money, of course. Or maybe to use you as zombie to launch their next attack. It's all about protection, right? But when you think about it, cybersecurity is not just about protection. It's way beyond that. There are malwares, there are issues, but there is one thing for sure, that protection saves the day. Attacks, we all know, can involve a malware or can just be a social engineering base, for example, without even touching a computer. Or an attack could be non-malware based. There is many different attack types which we are not going to cover today. Today, we want to talk about data breaches. So what is a data breach? A data breach is a cyber attack in which you use your CIA, your confidentiality, integrity, and availability maybe. The attackers, they're after your sensitive data. Those most probably are confidential. Those supposed to be protected, but somehow they're being accessed by an unauthorized person, organization, or whatever, and they've been disclosed to the public without your will. When we talk about data breaches, I'm pretty sure you came across Hollywood movies. Let's watch this video.
Someone synced a rat to one of my servers. Remote access tool. We're being hacked.
By Locksat?
I don't know.
But we've been so careful. How could they find us?
They haven't found us yet. Just crack the outer layer of our system. I'll start an intrusion inspection and find out who our rat is.
They're on to us. They're trying to track our IP address.
Oh, can you stop it?
No. But I can slow him down.
It's coming from inside the city, trying to narrow it down.
Okay.
Good, but I am better.
Cat videos? That doesn't seem like Locksat. Who would do that?
We're about to find out.
That barely slowed him down. I'm sorry, but he's going to find us in less than a minute. Should we abort?
No, set for this. And she is about to breach our firewall. If she does, they'll have instant access to our entire investigation.
No. That's going to put a target on Castle's back. We have to stop him.
I can do it, but I...
Right now. Feel like steaming up your office?
My office? That sounds great. I'm, sort of in the middle of something right now.
Really? That's too bad, because I'm right downstairs.
Downstairs?
Yeah. I can be up in 10 seconds.
10 seconds is not long at all. Hang on 1 second. We should have town. She's going to walk in the front door.
No. She's lying. Her phone is pinging from Queens.
She knows it's us who's hacking her. Sorry about that. Just taking off my pants. You coming up?
He knows I'm lying. Hey, you know what? Something just came up. Rain check?
Sure. You know where to find me.
Okay. No. Oh!
What just happened?
Armageddon, I'm afraid.
I wish hacking was that easy, or finding the hackers or the threat actors or the ATPs were that easy. Of course, this isn't a Hollywood movie. Of course, I added right in the beginning of the session to have some fun, but this is usually not how breaches occur. Still, unfortunately, there is malwares and vulnerabilities involved. If you read threat data breach reports from Verizon, from IBM, from Microsoft, from Comodo cybersecurity, you looked at 46% of compromised systems had no malware on them, while nearly 99.9% of the exploited vulnerabilities were used more than a year after the CV is published. In other terms, I always give this example: WannaCry, the very big known ransomware attack. It happened nearly 2 months after Microsoft published a patch, but companies unfortunately did not take this patch serious, and the big ransomware attack happened, as I said, after 2 months, where millions of organizations were affected. This brings another question to mind. Yes, it's not easy, as you saw in the video, but is it really that hard to prevent those attacks? When we look at attack vectors, unfortunately, phishing is still number one. Most of the attacks still start with phishing, still starts, as we say, social engineering. And unfortunately, most of the end users, they still click onto those phishing links within the first hour. And based, again, on statistics, there are 6 people, they will definitely click onto those links within the first hour. I repeated the first hour again, because it is really critical. So, what can you do? Why are those breaches happening? To predict the future, we have to look at the history. Is this not what we did also in high schools? We learned the history to be able to predict the future. And if you look at today's war, for example, country A and country B, you will most probably see that most of the wars have some historical tie into it. When we look at the data breaches, One of the very first known worms were the Morris worm, which affected more than 60,000 ArtNet computers. Then in 1984, again, please keep in mind that in 80s, 60,000 was a huge number in terms of computers. Probably it was half of the computers. In 1984, it was 90 million users infected via the TRW data breach, which is known today as Experian. In 90s, I'm pretty sure some of you will remember the Michelangelo virus, which was designed to attack those systems at the time, and it was modifying the boot sector. In 2000s, the I Love You virus, which was a VB script based, and it was basically downloading another payload via the VB script. The conflict virus was quite popular in 2008. 2010, the world was shaken with a never seen attack before, which was the Statnex, which was active for nearly 5 years, and nobody noticed until finally the state which detected the Statnex. Then there were different types of espionage malware. As I spoke a few minutes ago, the malware, the WannaCry, hit the world in 2017. Then NotPetya or Petya was following it. And then many other viruses came through, but the one that I really want to talk about is the Pegasus spyware as well. Most of those attacks that you see, except the very first one was and very last one, were usually Windows targeted. But things has changed. While we shift our algorithm from being computer-based to mobile-based, attackers shift their attacks vectors as well to be mobile-based. And the Pegasus spyware, which, by the way, just last week was leaked. The source code was leaked, and I'm pretty sure you could just find them in dark web. I did download a copy, and I'm looking at it, which is very smartly designed that you could just get a victim via zero click. As soon as you were able to send the spyware into an Apple phone, you were just able to hack that target. So this is a quick history. When we look, most of those attacks were malware based. So malware is still a problem. But why? First of all, what is a malware or ransomware or virus or worm? You name it. It is a legitimate code within the context of CPU instructions doing illegitimate things. Basically, it's a software designed to harm you. And some of them encrypt your computers, some of them steal data, some of them destroy your data. But when we look at the malware needs three important things. Of course, the very first thing is write privileges. A malware will most probably need write privileges to your memory or to your hard disk, to your registry or to your COM interface. Then with this, they will basically start to infiltrate your data and steal it around. There is some proposed technology to protect that, which I will talk towards the end, but let's talk about first the issues. What are we doing wrong today? Why are billions of dollars investment on cybersecurity is still not stopping the malware problem? I think we are still doing something wrong, and this is the cybersecurity posture. We still do not take the cybersecurity issues seriously. There is three aspects. What can you do? You could just allow any file, but deny only the bad ones. Run everything, deny bad. Okay. You could just allow everything to run in a computer and deny the rest. Okay. You could allow the good files to run, then allow the rest to run only with ASR, which is attack surface reduction. Let's dig into this a bit more. It's easy to say allow all, deny bad. So how can you tell what is good, what is bad? Remember? And malware is a legitimate software which is designed to do illegitimate stuff. So how can you know if something is designed to harm you? Most of the Trojans, they look like they give you something useful, but in reality, they have something in it which is designed to be unuseful to you. It sounds good, right? And I will deny bad. But is it really possible? When we look at today's cybersecurity posture, we all agree there is no 100% security. As a result, this is not true. So it's impossible to do. Again, when we look at spending vectors, it's still way too much, which means this is not getting where we want to go. Allowing all, denying bad means also if you miss one single detection, you get breached. So here's the question to ask for yourself, which I'm not going to answer. How will you prevent the damage when your cybersecurity product fails to detect? Again, towards the end of the session, I'm going to have some recommendations, but for now, please think about it. The second posture is allow all, deny rest. So we're going to allow all the files to run, but we're going to deny the rest. But how? Is this going to be user-friendly? So are we going to allow all the files, check one by one, this is sometimes millions of applications, and look into those one by one or via AI, which can, again, have one single mistake and get you breached? Not user-friendly. Third one, we should allow all non-root files to run, and we should put everything else through ASR. This way, we are not just going to restrict users by denying any application from running on their computers, but you are also going to deny any unknown ransomware or malware from causing damage, because it's going to go through the ASR module, which means it's not going to be able to harm you. When we look again in the history of data breaches, as I said a few minutes ago, those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. What does this mean? It means when we look at world's biggest data breach, hacks, and this is up to till 2021, you will see, and you can just easily Bing it, Google it, you will see that most of those companies were hacked, right? And when we look at the attack vectors, when we look at the problem, which I just covered a few minutes ago, we need to do more than what we have today, because it's clear that our current defenses are not sufficient. You can't find the signal in the noise. You hear some companies saying we analyzed 10 trillion signals and we found that single one, which is true, they do. But what about in 20 trillion and that one bypasses the signal? And unfortunately, the hackers are still a step ahead. I usually see threat actors, hackers, it's like we are on a bicycle. They're the front wheel, we are the back wheel, and we keep following them still, because they either have more budget, they have less applications to manage. All what they had to do is just find one vulnerability, one 0 day, one attack vector to be successful, where we defenders, we have to, even in a very small organization, but let's say 10 computers, we will have at least hundreds of applications. We will have mobile phones, we will have cloud, we will have dependency on third parties, we will have dependency on security vectors, which sometimes is hard to control regardless of organization size. We have a traditional security. I'm pretty sure most of those hacked organizations, they had firewall, IPS. I mean, one of the world's biggest organization, cybersecurity organization, was hacked early last year. And it was through a third-party supply chain attack. They did everything right. to be successful. But then the software vendor, which allowed an intern to use password as company name 123, were unfortunately noticed by hackers. They hacked through, and through that they went through all the customers. I don't want to mention the company name anymore, but the CEO of this the ex-CEO of this company blamed the intern to have a password as company name 123. Let's say the company name is BrightTalk, and the password was BrightTalk 123. That was the entry for the hackers, and from that they just reach out to domain administration and the rest, and all the customers were at risk. They had anti-malware, they had web application firewall, they had routers, they were using Active Directory, Google security, Apple security, you name it. I'm pretty sure they had DLP, they had spam protectors, they had alarms, security guards, but it was not enough. It comes back to the main issue that I mentioned beginning of my talk, which is the cybersecurity dilemma that we're still facing. We allow hackers to run their malware. They have write privileges. They still bypasses all our defenses. Again, we can group the attacks into two. One, attack to the applications and infrastructure. Two, attacks to the human. Privilege account escalation, compromising admin accounts, compromising privilege accounts. It's still an attack vector. As we also talked, the unpatched vulnerabilities. Remember, I gave the example of NumPatty and ransomware attacks. Crimeware, the Pegasus spyware, for example, it's designed by a legitimate company. They sell it to their customers to enable their customers to monitor the victims. And they found it legally correct. What Apple did is Apple sued them, actually. They opened a big lawsuit against them, and it's still not, as of today, came to a conclusion. Malware infection, 0 days, those are still the attacks which is done to the applications, to the infrastructure, where social engineering attacks by using a phone, like the Apple hack, which happened to 100 celebrity. If you remember, all their personal photos in their iPhones were leaked. Inside the attacks, I'm pretty sure you remember Edward Snowden, how even NSA, where NSA leaked data. Spear phishing, phishing attacks, waterhole attacks, fileless malware, those are human-oriented attacks, which comes back, except social engineering one, everything comes back to the main attack vector that we said. Okay, good. We know now what a data breach is. You know now what caused data breaches. But what are the IOCs? How do you know if you are hacked or not? Of course, there is going to be some indicators of compromise. You might have a great antivirus, which tells you what was detected. A threat protection, an EDR, XDR, SDR, PDR, you put the letters up. By the way, if you cannot afford this, I highly recommend you to go to openedr.com, and there is a great OpenEDR project by Comodo, actually, which I work at. You can just download and fully customize it totally for free. Intrusion prevention, if you have proper IDS, IPS, it will also notify you. Your DLP software will hopefully detect and prevent those kinds of attack, or prevent not maybe detect, but prevent of if there is a USB stick in the case of StackNext. And network prevention, some detection mechanism included in your Cisco firewall or any other brand that you use. Then logs are important, of course. You have to look at the logs, the raw events. You have to analyze the events. You have to look at the interest of the events. Especially, I have a blog post. If you go to my blog, and if you remember erdal.com, I shared this in the beginning of the presentation. I have actually those covered for you. Or if you tweet about the session, you can just win one of my book. If you're one of the winners, you can just select the incident response book where I give all these details to you. Or I have also blogged about it. So you should look at the events, crash logs, application analysis logs, net login logoff logs, especially for your privileged accounts, can give the hacker away. It will actually help you to detect them. You should then look at the correlated events. And all this should help you to build some cases where you can minimize this to critical cases. And with that, if you have a great SOC team, this can help you to minimize the possibility of getting hacked. But again, how many of mid-sized to small-sized organization can have SOC? Now, you might wonder, hey, I work for a corporate. Why should I care? All right, who's taking off your cleaning services? Is it another corporation, or is it a small local business which cleans your organization, where they send you an email or where you receive an email from them, or where they have access to your finance system where they upload and download their data? Or for that, maybe you have an internal application or application in your cloud where they can connect. In other terms, a third-party attack vector. This doesn't matter who you are. This can still affect you. That's why you should think. That's what cybersecurity is, right? You should think end-to-end. All right. Okay, we know what data breach is. We know what IOCs are. But what should we look for? Of course, in the logs, you should look at malicious file entry. Crash logs usually can give this away, because unless it's a extremely well-designed malware, somehow it's gonna crash an application. An unusual behavior. Let's say high RAM usage, high network uploads. And I want to give another example. One of the world's biggest gaming company were demanded to pay millions of dollars ransom. They refused to pay that. As a result, more than 750 gigabyte source code of the data was leaked out. Here's the question. Where was the SOC team when 750 gigabyte data were leaving out their premises? If they had proper monitoring, they could just notify or be alerted about the attack way earlier. Suspicious network activities could be basically, this is a suspicious network activity. Happened in Tesla, right? An employee downloaded more than 10 gigabyte data within the first week of the employment, and Tesla were able to detect this and fire the employee. So they had a suspicious network activity where their team looked at it and were able to fire that employee before he or she leaked it out. What else? The possible compromise or insider threat activity, which is also an example to what I just gave. Someone could just plug a USB in. Remember Edward Snowden example? He was able somehow to download the data to a hard drive, bypass the physical security, fly out from the country, share it with the media. Again, when we look at data breach reports from Comodo, from Verizon, from Microsoft, unfortunately, one of the other big attack vector is misconfiguration or insecure configuration, as known as AKA next. If you don't bother to change the default port, if you don't bother to have a strong password, if you don't bother to encrypt, if you don't bother to have data defense in depth, then most probably you will not have much to look for. then your applications. This is also a great giveaway from hackers to us. If you see any suspicious application, instead of having teams.exe, you have teams.exe, an application, which requires lots of RAM. This could be, of course, Google Chrome chewing most of your RAM, or this could be an unlegitimate application, which is chewing lots of RAM or network usage. Those are usually great giveaways to breach detection. This is, in my world, the art of breach detection. Okay, the other thing is people. They ask me, I'm pretty sure some of you know me already, and you read one of my books or you attended one of my sessions before. They asked me, what is your key role as Chief Information Security Officer? I say people. Why people? Because as a CISO, if I cannot create a security culture, working together with HR, working together with finance, working together with development, working together with any other department in your organization, including customers and vendors and suppliers. If I cannot work with them together and create a security culture, then I'm not doing my job properly. I need to be able to communicate as CISO. As CISO, you need to be able to create a culture where people help you to detect an attack earlier. If you should have phishing simulations. If you can train your employees to report the phishing in early stages. Remember, again, I give the example. There is still 6 people who clicks into phishing emails within the first hour they receive it. If you can train them not to click, even if you can train one of those 6 people to report earlier, you might be able to detect and prevent the major attack. Remember, I said hackers are like the front wheel of the bicycle. We are just trying to catch them. I said they need to have just one successful attack vector to be successful, but they have to be successful from A to Z. Because if somehow an user notify this as suspicious activity, this phishing, or someone walking in the office without a badge, or someone sending way too much information, way too much email compared to a normal day, or someone is utilizing way too much data traffic compared to a usual day, this can help you to save the day. So people are important. And of course, this could be via Active Directory. This could be, you might have to check Active Directory, traffic analysis, vulnerability scan. There is many technical aspects, which I'm not going to cover today because we don't have much time to cover it. But this is a key aspect for you in the art of breach detection. Then what else? If you talk about people, if you talk about technology, we need to talk about process and producers as well. You should have an operation team to look at the issues. You should have an analysis team to look at the events, and your business and tech data should be able to collaborate that. If you don't have it, you can use partners such as Microsoft or Comodo or any other company who can give you SOC as service. And this hopefully can help you to be a bit more secure. What else? Training. You can grow by learning. Yes, we all know an incident response strategy, a procedure happens. Preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lesson learns. If you can create a lesson learned, if you have a proper threat intel partner, where you go and look at what's happening or which gives the information automatically to you, then you can be much more secure. Don't forget, doesn't matter what platform you use. Doesn't matter who you are. I work for a cybersecurity company. We build out-of-state antivirus, EDR, XDR system. We protect more than 100 million customers at Comodo. But even though we do that, we still have some partners. We work together to stop the bad guys. Because, for example, Windows. I use Windows, as you can see. Or I use Logitech mouse, which has a driver, which has some software, which I use. So some applications, some tools, some partners are required to do business. As long as you know how to work with them, as long as you know what to look at when a breach happens, you can be more secure. The other thing is, when it comes to the art of breach detection, is just assume that you can get any time. Build an incident response strategy. Do some testing. And as I said earlier again, implement defense in depth strategy. Ensure that everybody in your organization knows that you can hack any second. But even if you fall down, you can come back online as soon as possible. Of course, via backups. Backups which is not in the same network. But maybe they're offline. Or they're online but versioned with different attack vectors, different reach vector. At Comodo, we also have another solution, what we call the auto containment. So we know what a data breach is, right? You have your antivirus vendor, you have your traditional security vendors, you have your XDR, but remember, I said there is 3 cybersecurity attack postures, cybersecurity postures. Allow all, deny bad. Remember, the one that I was liking is allow all, rest should go to ASR, which means you should move from traditional detection to prevention with auto containment. And this is helping you to isolate infections such as ransomware, unknown threats. Here's an example which I give. Remember, I said virus needs access to write privileges to your hard drive, registry, and common interface. But just imagine everybody who comes to your house comes bubble wrapped, and they only can allow. It's like going to the airport. In the airport security, after 9/11 attacks, everybody was treated as possible possible terrorists. I mean, not terrorists. They search us regardless who we are. I had some government officials that I traveled together. I had some military officials that I traveled together, which they had to give their guns and their security way before, and they were just scanned as they were just me. And in multiple countries, through my, this happened in multiple countries, probably in 5 continents happened to me. I was traveling with those professionals, or they were also scanned as I am. They didn't have any special treatment. Why? This ensured that I could just, or anybody in that flight, or anybody in any building is safe from a plane attack. How? They automatically they scan us, and they ensure that only secure or clean passengers can go through. Auto containment is a centralized auto containment feature that is the core of active breach prevention, which allows you to reduce your time to detect and respond to zero attacks. What it does, as I said, is I have a very quick demo here. So I'm just gonna, under 2 minutes. I have 3 files here: a known bad file, a known good file, and an unknown file. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and double click on them. The first one, as you can see, it's a good one. It opened automatically in a virtualized environment, live, regardless if you're. So it is not using your Apple or your Windows or your Linux virtual environment. We are creating our own autokernel virtualization, where we treat every file as possible danger. Once you run them, as you can see, it opens in a virtual environment, and then it doesn't matter if it's a good file or bad file. This is the bad file, and this is the unknown file. All of them open in the virtual environment. Now, all what you have to do is you can just look at the files if they are trusted or not, and it will be automatically sent to the administrator to look what kinds of file there are. If you're not sure, you can send it to us. We will look at it, and if we decide this is a dangerous file, we can just block it for the rest of the organization. And second time, as soon as you rate those files, and this can most of the time is automated. If it's a known good file which is signed, automatically it will be signed safe. And as you can see here, second time it just run as normal. But when you open the bad file, it's not gonna run. If you really force it to run, it's gonna give you the error. So auto containment is just again with unknown file, it's still gonna open it, but it's gonna open it in a contained environment. And you can just enable, disable this based on your needs. I believe this is an extra art of breach detection, because you are not just depending on your network or endpoint security vector, but you add that extra layer in. And this extra layer is basically giving you the opportunity to secure yourself. Why did I mention that? Keep in mind, you cannot defeat the threats of present with the tools of tomorrow's. Yes, you need antivirus. Yes, you need firewall and the rest of the stuff, but they have to be up to date. It's like COVID. We had all these vaccinations. Unfortunately, we had to get more and more vaccinations to be able to protect ourselves from this illness. And honestly, I had my 4 shots. While most of my friends had COVID, while I traveled half of the globe during COVID, thank God I was not infected at all. But of course, there are some people that were still infected, but they had less symptoms than others. Of course, some others, maybe some with weak immunization system might have different stuff, but it's not out of topic. It's out of my topic. I'm a doctor in information security, but not a medical doctor. And some of you probably are against vaccination. Again, please take this as an example which fits for the most of the community, let me say. So what do I recommend here? I'm not saying go buy Comodo, okay? This is just one little tip. If you do it, my employer is going to be happy. I'm not even in sales. Don't forget, for some reason, give me 1 second. I know what I did wrong here. Let me just give a color, because this is a really important slide, which I don't want you to miss. As a cybersecurity, professional, you should not spend too much time on what you are strong. You should always look to your weak areas, find your weaknesses, and closing them down. Because if you don't, it's like cybersecurity is like going to gym. Honestly, I want to lose weight. I think I'm a bit fat. I have excess weight. If I want to lose weight, I need to go to gym. And in the gym, I cannot just look at. I'm just checking the timing. A few more minutes. I cannot just watch others and lose weight. I have to, if there is no pain, there will be no gain. Again, don't forget, please, there is 8 golden steps which I covered in the session. So please, if you get hacked, first rule, don't panic. If you have an incident response plan, follow it. If not, at least create one for next time. If you have an incident response partner, reach them out. If not, look at your operating systems. Look at what is running your operating system. try to use offline antivirus scan. Cross-check the scan with Microsoft, with Comodo, with Kaspersky, whatever, just name it. Ensure that your privileged accounts are secured. Ensure that your authentication services are secure. Check your logs. Reset the passwords. Which passwords? This could be your local passwords, your admin passwords, your service account passwords, of course your VIP passwords. Ensure you have separate accounts that are used. You could be the domain administrator, but ensure as a domain administrator, you have also a separate non-admin account, and ensure that both of them are also resetted, because if using them in the same machine, pass the hash could be just could be used. And again, ensure that your passwords are unique and not reused. Ensure that you implement MFA. Step 6 will be build a tactical recovery plan. So this will help you what to reset when. You might look at the Kerberos ticket. You might have to look at your golden ticket. You might have to look at your applications, legacy application, which has your password embedded. Having a plan will help you to follow the plan. And of course, you should check your infected system. If it's out patched, ensure you patch it out. Ensure you restrict the access, you isolate it. And more importantly, remember, we also talked about lesson learned. Please revise your security policies and strategies. With this, I came to the end of my presentation. Perfect timing. Please don't forget, you can keep in touch via those channels with me. And if you go ahead and tweet about this session, tag me, tag Target, Bright Talk. You will subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can win one of my 5 books based on your choice. So let me see if there is any questions. If you have any question, please use the Q&A button. Okay, one of the question is, I talked about OpenEDR project. Yeah, it's fully open. You can just go to openedr.com and download it, fully customize it based on your needs. You don't have to pay anything to Comodo or to the owners of this open source. Any other questions? To win the book, all what you have to do is basically tweet about the session, follow me if you wish in Twitter and my YouTube channel, and that's it. Okay, we're running out of time. I can see more questions are coming through. There's many questions. The easiest way for you is please reach out to me via those channels, and we can just basically, I can just answer all the questions, because there is no way I can answer all these questions now. But let me pick one more randomly. A question by Özcan. What is the best tip when it comes to data breach detection? Honesty? Yes, look, I work for a vendor, Comodo, and I'm proud of it. I believe we help millions of people to stay secure. But don't forget, you don't have to depend to one vendor. For example, you can use our auto containment together with your Microsoft antivirus. Or you can use your firewall together with your IDS. They could be 2 separate brands. Don't be brand specific. Don't just rely on Gartner. Yes, they do a great job. Don't get me wrong. Gartner, IDC. For myself, I'm in IDC top 50 cybersecurity professionals. Look at them, but don't always stick to what they recommend. Also look at peer reviews. Look at what is out in the market. If you want a shoe, it doesn't mean you have to buy Nike or Adidas. There is Reebok. There are some other brands. Same with cars. Yes, I know you want the Ferrari and the Lamborghini, if not Mercedes-Benz, But hey, if you don't have the budget, here's a great car. It does the job, and it comes with no warranty. So unless the brand, watch, you can go buy the Tag Heuer watch, or you can buy just the Samsung cheap watch, which is based on exact Google Wear OS. It has a couple of face customization, it has some other customization, but at the end, it does the same job. And this applies into your cybersecurity. Another question, is the webinar recorded? I think it is recorded. Yes, I can see the recorded button. You can share it with your team. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there an option to use the auto containment as an additional tag, like adding to another vendors? Yes, I just talked about it a few seconds ago. You can definitely use auto containment. As I said, let's say you use, I don't want to use the brand, it came to my mind. Let's say you use Microsoft Windows Defender with E5, or you use Sophos, or you use McAfee. I don't care what you use. You can just get our auto containment technology on top of it, which I think it's an additional defense mechanism. Thank you for those questions. Again, we overcome 52 minutes now. I think it's time for me to end the presentation. Again, this is going to be at Bright Talk and Tech Target's website available as well, the recording. Don't forget to keep in touch, and I, Dr. Erdal, would like to thank everybody for listening, for watching this session. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep in touch. Even if you didn't watch it live, go ahead, tweet about the session. You never know. Sometimes my publisher is good enough, kind enough to give extra books to give away. Thank you very much. Let me see if there is, again, there are many other questions which I'm not going to be able to answer, but promise I will take them offline, and I will reach out to you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, all the way from Australia.